Everyone wants to be successful at work. Nobody goes to work with intent of failing or causing others to fail. Most people want good performance reviews, promotion, and interesting job assignments. People want a personal sense of satisfaction and accomplishment. Most people want more than their own personal success. They also want success for their teams, their departments, and their organizations. They want to meet their organization goals, enjoy good team morale, and work well with others. People want to do a good job, and to know that their work matters for the bigger picture. In short, people want to win at work. In our work over the past 20 years, with hundreds of managers and employees in virtually every type of organization, from Fortune 100 companies and large government agencies to local not-for-profits, we have found that there are 4 types of productive conversation. Each of these conversations are already used every day by CEOs, executives, directors, managers, supervisors, and employees, as well as husbands and wives, parents and children, teachers and students, in their normal, everyday interaction. Each conversation produces a different kind of result. Anyone who wants to accomplish something, whether assigning people to projects or arranging lunch with their friends, will use one or more of these 4 conversations. Initiative conversations launch new ideas. Understanding conversations involve and engage people not only in those ideas, but other ideas that are currently being pursued in an organization. Performance conversations get people into action, and closure conversations complete the past. Your communication profile will show that you already use these conversations on a daily basis, though to different degrees and with different levels of effectiveness. Used at the right times and in the right combinations or patterns, these conversations can speed things up, build credibility, and reduce misunderstandings. Your communication can build trust and accountability, restore and strengthen relationships, and increase the effectiveness of individuals, teams, and the organization as a whole. But sometimes we run into barriers to being successful at work. In many cases, these are temporary barriers that are eventually resolved, such as a colleague who is worried about a problem at home and is not very responsive or productive today. In other cases, these barriers become part of the way things are around here and become part of the everyday culture and practices of the organization and the people who constitute that organization, such as meetings that usually start late or run too long. Although each workplace can have its own unique barriers to productivity and effectiveness, most workplaces have in common one or more of the following issues. Lateness is a barrier to success when people frequently arrive late for meetings, or meetings start and end late, or people finish jobs after their deadline dates have already passed, or they don't respond in a timely manner to emails, phone calls, or our memos. If you consistently get things late from some people, then you know the impact this barrier can have on your ability to be successful at work. Lateness is a prime contributor to last-minute work and the stress that it causes. Lateness is often thought to be the result of an individual personality trait, such as procrastination or laziness. But it can become an organizational problem that affects and weakens communication and the way teams work together, as well as those relationships between individuals. A particular problem occurs when these get in the way of communication between different departments and levels within the organization. Fortunately, lateness can be substantially reduced, and in many cases eliminated, just by altering the conversations we have with the people involved. In many cases, just adding a "by when" to the requests in our performance conversations can substantially reduce lateness from others. Remembering to follow up with people afterward using what we call closure conversations can seal the deal and improve on-time performance. Maybe people's work products are inaccurate or incomplete, or the services they provide are sloppy or done in an inattentive way. Computer programmers, for example, may be in such a hurry to meet project deadlines that they leave bugs in their computer code, even though they're well aware that this will create extensive rework later for others. When people's products and services fail to meet standards or specifications, even more work is required to make them right. This wastes time and resources and contributes to frustration for employees and complaints from customers. When we get incomplete or inaccurate data or information, it often means we end up doing two jobs, our own and the other person's. This can have a ripple effect, causing delays in other people's projects down the line. Quality problems may be caused by a lack of talent or incentives that don't match the work to be done, or they can result from breakdowns in equipment and materials. But they can also be the result of incomplete and inappropriate conversations that leave people confused and uncertain. Improving the completeness of certain kinds of conversations, in this case understanding and closure conversations, can help people see how they can improve the quality of the work products and their services. Difficult people can also be a barrier to workplace success. People who are uncooperative, rude, disrespectful, or simply unwilling to adjust to workplace changes and requirements can reduce other people's productivity or satisfaction. People may be difficult due to a health issue, a personality problem, or an unresolved grudge, but they can add to the burdens of everyone in the workplace. When people are touchy to work with, we tend to avoid them rather than deal with their stuff. Unfortunately, some people are just difficult, but we can sometimes turn things around if we have what we call a closure conversation with them. This way of talking can reduce the baggage that many people carry over from the past, altering their communications and their behaviors at work. Lack of teamwork is a workplace barrier when people who are or should be working together toward the same goals begin to have trouble communicating or coordinating their work. People in the same unit or working on the same project need a basic level of cooperation and mutual support in order to succeed. When people take advantage of other team members by being free riding, slacking off, or being retired on the job, the lack of teamwork can mean that other people must work harder or longer in order to get the work accomplished. This builds resentment and frustration, compromising workplace success and working relationships. Teamwork can be improved by using understanding conversations to clarify what is to be accomplished and how each member can contribute to that accomplishment. Performance conversations also contribute to teamwork by using clear and clean requests, along with closure conversations to build accountability. Poor planning and workload overwhelm also contribute to barriers to success. Today, many people have more work to do than they have time in which to do it. Perhaps you're one of them. New technologies, changing priorities, project scope creep, and putting out fires contribute to a problem of overwhelm, poor planning, and ineffective scheduling habits. When the people around us keep changing priorities and assignments, it becomes very difficult to accomplish anything. This is particularly true if you have a boss who wants everything done now, no matter how long tasks really take. It is easy to believe that there is nothing we can do about an increasing workload or a manager or an employee who is not planning properly. But it is possible to gain more control over your workload by adjusting your conversational patterns. Improving your use of performance conversation and closure conversation techniques will support making more effective requests and promises. This clarifies people's vague expectations and supports more realistic planning and scheduling for the accomplishment of their work. Insufficient resources and support, including too little time, money, personnel, or equipment, can clearly prevent the completion of your work. It is true that tightening resources can encourage people to become more creative and innovative in getting their work done. But that benefit disappears if the tightening goes so far that people can't do their work properly. We know that there are real-world limits to the resources available at work. Still, many resource and support problems can be reduced or eliminated by changing our conversational patterns. Performance conversations are especially useful as they encourage people to tie the requests for resources to promises for results. This can often open up a new dialogue for resource problems that goes beyond the usual scarcity or we don't have it model. Similarly, closure conversations can give everyone the opportunity to see the cost of missing resources and to make adjustments to the situation going forward. These 6 barriers tend to reinforce and aggravate each other. Late or poor quality work, for example, both undermines teamwork and increases the workload on others. Poor planning and insufficient resources contribute to late work, poor quality work, and workload overwhelm. Difficult people may be the same people who are often late, do the poor quality work, or undermine teamwork. These barriers, separately or together, contribute to distrust, lack of confidence, and negative emotions that are often found in poor working relationships and among teams that are having difficulty getting their work accomplished. In some cases, these barriers are temporary and will eventually be resolved or overcome with normal workplace changes. In other cases, however, they are persistent and become part of the way things are around here, ingrained into the culture and the everyday work practices of people. But even if only temporary, these barriers increase the stress, reduce satisfaction, and undermine relationships, and limit what can be accomplished at work. Fortunately, it is possible to significantly reduce, and in many cases, eliminate these barriers through the use of the 4 conversations. There are 4 conversations that are productive and support workplace success. Each one has a unique set of ingredients that produce a distinct result out of the conversation. These conversations can be used in any sequence, and their ingredients are what make them so effective. The purpose of an initiative conversation is to propose a new vision, goal, or objective for people who will participate in developing and implementing it in some way. Initiative conversations create futures. The initiative you are proposing may be small or large, but when communicated appropriately, it brings people into a new possibility and context for the work that they do. Initiative conversations are acts of leadership. They create the possibility for working together toward a new future accomplishment. The purpose of an understanding conversation is to engage people in a discussion of a new idea or changes that are occurring within the work organization. This discussion builds awareness and knowledge, helps people see how to participate in accomplishing tasks or projects. The session I'm having with you now is an understanding conversation about the barriers people confront at work and productive conversations. The intent is to have you understand or know something you did not understand or know before we began, and to have you see where you could or you might be able to put these ideas into work for your own success. Understanding conversations help people make sense of things and determine how they will engage in any proposed changes that are occurring within the organization. Understanding conversations, however, do not, I repeat, do not get people into action. For that, we need a performance conversation. The purpose of a performance conversation is to have people commit to taking an action or producing a result through the use of requests and promises. Performance conversations are not conversations about performance, like in a performance review, where we're talking about how well you did or didn't do over the prior time period. Instead, they are conversations with requests and promises for taking specific action and producing specific results in time. When people accept a request and make a promise to produce something, that communication creates an agreement between the 2 parties. These agreements are the foundation for workplace performance and accountability. Closure conversations support people's experience of accomplishment, satisfaction, and value. They strengthen accountability by giving people an honest look at the successes and failures they've encountered on the way to reaching a goal. One reason people are sometimes resistant to new ideas that we propose is that there has been no closure or completion regarding previous initiatives or changes that have been undertaken. Without closure, people can become cynical, which makes the implementation of new projects and new ideas even more difficult than they might otherwise be. Each of the 4 conversations is based on a combination of accomplishment and resource ingredients. Accomplishment ingredients clearly identify what we want to accomplish or achieve, when we want to have it accomplished, and why this particular accomplishment or achievement matters or is worthy of our time and attention. Resource ingredients tell us what will be involved in causing or accomplishing this particular project, goal, or objective. They tell us who will be involved, where necessary resources will come from, and how the work might be done or will be done, such as the plans and schedules and steps for doing the work. Complete productive conversations provide accomplishment and resource ingredients that are specific and appropriate to the situation. By learning to recognize when these ingredients are missing or are unclear, it is possible to significantly improve the effectiveness not only of your communications, but of the communications of those you work with.